Hey guys, SJWS Central here. Today I decided to make this video because I got a lot of comments about it, and a lot of you were asking for me to make this video, and I actually thought a couple of times about it a long time ago, which is actually a good topic, which is do we have SJWs in Israeli society, in Israel basically, and before we get to it, let me lay down the framework. So basically, in Israel, if you don't know, an army service is mandatory for boys and girls. We all get drafted unless we are medically unfit or mentally unfit to serve. Uh, so basically, at the age of 18, everybody gets recruited to the army, goes through basic training, and gets a job, or either goes to a supportive or a combative role. Even the women, but they serve 1 year less. So basically, everybody goes through the army. We are surrounded by Muslim countries, which some of them don't have peace treaty with Israel. We have in the West Bank, which is a disputed territory between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. Palestinians, which kind of don't like Israel, and as most common good Muslim do, they don't like Jews or the idea of a Jewish state, because their holy book basically says kill all non-believers, but that's for another video. And we have the Gaza Strip, which is ruled under Hamas, a recognized terrorist organization that calls for the exterminations of Jews and Israel in their charter. So basically, we live in a harsh reality, somewhat harsh reality. Even though life in Israel is prosperous, we are the startup nation. We have most startups per capita. We have a pretty liberal country, which is the only democracy in the Middle East, and it's the real kind of democracy, not the Turkey type of democracy. It's a great place to live here, don't get me wrong, to live in, but basically we kind of have a big problem, which is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict to solve. And in America, you live a pretty good life, just like in Israel. Somewhat would say better. You know, you have the American dream. You can go after whatever you want to do. You have all the options on the table, especially if you're middle class, and even if you're not, you have basic education and everything, and you can. Most of the smart parents actually save up money for you to go to college, so you can get better education and then have a job, earn money, and even if you don't save money for college, you can acquire debt, then you can pay later on, as long as you go into a great high paying profession like STEM and not into gender studies. So basically, you have a good life, and you have your own set of problems, don't get me wrong, but you live in a pretty liberal culture. You live in somewhat sheltered life. You never, your house was never shelled by thousands of rockets for in the span of 1 month. You never got to grow up in a reality where suicide bombing in a bus is a daily threat, and you never grew up in a reality where a Palestinian can infiltrate your country and go on a stabbing spree in the middle uh, of your city. So basically, you have your own set of problems, which are fine, and I do respect them, but you're not living in this survival need type. You know, you have the um, needs hierarchy thing, which is survival basically, and all the way to the top you have self-actualization. So basically, in Israel, we kind of live in that bracket of survival. Even though we live a prosperous life, we kind of have a survival issue in here. You don't have this type of thing, and when you live in a sheltered life or in a liberal state like California or whatever, you kind of run out of problems to solve. So you go either to smaller problems like gender relations and gender equality, which is a great problem to solve, don't get me wrong. But when you don't have problems to solve, you start making up shit like manspreading and rape culture. And you get things like safe spaces and microaggressions and whatever else SJW buzzword you can think of. So those type of not real problems are created in the most liberal, prosperous, free societies. So that's why we don't have a lot of SJWs. We do have somewhat an equivalent of them, which is for me it's because they have those same three traits, which is disingenuity, if it's even a word, because they stick to their narrative no matter what. They won't acknowledge facts that dismantle their narrative, and they are very they live in a very sheltered life, in a bubble type of life, liberal bubble. Like I said, in California, our equivalent is in Tel Aviv, which is super liberal, left-wing city. In Israel, super rich. Everyone who lives there is super rich, at least upper middle class. And the last thing that I see with them that is so common with SJWs in our country and your country is that they're both what you would call useful idiots. Those are the type that would make up lies about your country, burn down the flag, say that Israel is racist, is an apartheid state, that the IDF is immoral, which is farthest from the truth, and I'll address that issue in a separate video because I can go on like a 20 minutes tangent just off of that topic. But basically, they will spout out all the lies from their narrative and won't acknowledge facts that dismantle this type of narrative, and they are useful idiots for the terrorist cause in the Palestinian community, which you have like Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, which is technically a government but does incite a lot of violence and do avoid peace treaties. They do avoid the peace process, but basically they don't join the IDF. They protest. They're saying it's an immoral army. They also fight dumb shit like our feminists are fighting for our signs, and our government documents are addressed to males, because in Hebrew you have male and female in every word, basically in nouns, adjectives, pronouns. Everything is male or female. So like my phone, which is recording you right now, is basically we address it in male form, just to give you an example. But basically their fight is also frivolous. It's super irrelevant. It does nothing. It furthers no cause. It's just fighting invisible demons. So that's the equivalent of SJWs. But I actually do got to run into the American type of SJW in Israel, in the army, which was super weird, because in the army, when you go through basic training, even through the most basic training and through your service, you the army tears you down and builds you back up. And when it does that, it gives you actually really great tools to deal with reality and develop your life. They teach you that you can solve problems and you have your own agency. They eliminate things like victim complex, blaming things on others, and shit like that. So basically, there was a discussion in my unit, which we do very often, sometimes like once or twice, so once a month or once a week, I can't remember. But basically, we were discussing on those when you finish boot camp in Israel, or an advanced training, you get a T-shirt for your platoon as a souvenir with a funny catchphrase or a funny sentence, a joke, or something else that somewhat relates to your training level or your unit. So we were discussing a shirt that had a rape joke on it, and one of the female soldiers uh, said that it's problematic. They shouldn't be allowed to make those type of shirts, and that it's rape culture. So, like I said, the fascist tendencies, silencing anything you don't like. I don't want them to be able to make this type of shirt. And it's rape culture, which is like the American SJW thing, which I was shocked to hear in the army because, like I said, this girl, especially in my unit, because they train you to be a squad commander, she was basically went through somewhat advanced basic training and another set of training to be a squad commander. So she went through some shit in the army, and she was in a demanding occupation in the army, and she was definitely tore down and built back up. Being in my base, I saw that procedure go a couple of times when you have soldiers coming in fresh and they actually make a decent human being out of you and teach you skills and teach you how to face reality. So I was super weird and I was caught off guard just hearing it coming from a female soldier. I was like, what is rape culture? Like, just please explain it to me. And she didn't. She just went off on another tangent. But basically, it was really, really weird to see that type of SJW in our community, especially in the army, which is, like I said, some our type of SJWs usually don't go through the army. They live in those liberal bubbles, and they refuse to join the army because it's immoral and it's an occupation army and blah blah blah. So it was super weird to run into that, and that's the only occasion I ran into Israeli SJWs who are the same as American SJWs. But basically, that's it. We do have SJWs. They are in different form. They are the extreme left. They are the same type of people you would run into if they would live in your state. They would grow up to be the SJWs. They are disingenuous people with fascist tendencies. They don't like different opinion. They only go through their narrative, and they would never acknowledge any fact that contradict their narrative. And they are useful idiots. If there's a common thread with all SJWs, they are useful idiots. Your SJWs are useful idiots for legal immigrants and for Islam. Ours are like for Islam and the terrorist organization who are using the Palestinian cause to further their Islamic cause. So basically, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a like. It helps the channel a lot and helps the video a lot. And comment, leave some comments in the comment section on what topics you want me to address in my next videos. If you like those commentaries, if you want to see more of them, I'll definitely combine them together with the regular content you see in this channel. And if there's one more thing that I can say about SJWs and why we don't have them here is when I try to explain my friends about my channel and what I do, it's super weird and embarrassing to tell them that like 21-year-old grown-ups have safe spaces and they talk about manspreading and rape culture and they pierce their body all over just to be weird and they call themselves Zer and they invent new genders and that's basically why we don't have those type of SJWs, because our 21 years old are post-army guys or gals, and you're 21 years old, lived a sheltered life up until college and got all those participation trophies in their closet, so they never faced any type of adversity. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to leave a like I said, leave in the comments what topics you want me to talk about next, and I'm gonna do a Q&A soon. So if you want to ask me any question, leave them in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.